Okay, I don't think this is centered. I suddenly got a sudden burst of energy to actually film a video. See these curtain bangs? I cut my curtain bangs in quarantine, which I filmed, but then like 2 weeks have passed and I haven't felt like editing the video, which gives me the inclination that it's just not a good video. But they turned out cute. I can show what the actual result looked like after I finished, because that was like the best hair day I've had in a really long time. I can't stop looking at myself. Sorry, I'm already a vain person, but this is just gonna make it so much worse. Anyways, so that's the only thing that I've really done, and I meant to film a bunch of videos in quarantine, specifically about being in quarantine, but I just forgot, especially because I ended up getting food poisoning for 2 days. Which is also why I wanted to talk about quarantine and some tips for quarantine, because I think maybe I would have avoided it had I known some things going into this. I think I also have a burst of energy because I actually just got my placement. So I will be in Gwangyang in the Jeonnam province, which is like southern, it's considered like rural Korea, but Gwangyang is actually a city in rural Korea. Yeosu in particular, I'm really excited to visit while I'm there. So I've just been researching Gwangyang. A lot of people from my like EPIK chat have been placed there, so that's also really nice. So now that I have like an idea of actually where I'm going, I kind of feel more in the mood to talk about to like vlog my experience. I think I was just on edge without knowing that. Today is, what is it? My 11th day in quarantine, I think. And I'm getting really tired of it. There's a couple things that I wish that I knew before going into it. If you do go through EPIK, they will book you the hotel and everything like that. So by the time you get to the airport, you will be pushed through all of the quarantine lines and everything like that, and then there's a specific counter that's like set up for EPIK applicants if this is still a thing in spring and you're planning on coming. Once you're here, I think that the biggest issue is the food. So you are served 3 meals a day in quarantine, and you get a breakfast at 6:30 a.m. usually, a lunch at 11:30 a.m. and a dinner at 5:30 p.m., which should be coming like really soon for me. The thing is, if you're really picky about food, there's only 2 options, which is the vegetarian option and then the regular option. And the vegetarian option is literally just the regular option, but instead of the meat dish, you have like salad, and it'll be salad every single day. And even with the regular dish, you do get a salad. Well, at least here, I'm at Skypark Dongdaemun. You do get like a salad or something, but it will usually be the same side dishes generally every day with maybe a different main plate. And a lot of people I've noticed are getting really tired of that. Like if you're someone who gets really tired of food, I would suggest bringing an entire carry-on full of food. For example, for me, I had 2 big bags in my backpack, and then I actually had a carry-on roller backpack where I tried to fit snacks in. But even now, I don't think I brought enough, and I just bought like Cheez-Its, granola bars, which I finished like the first week, and then like cookies. If you're someone who has a sweet tooth or salt, you want like something super salty, you won't get a lot of sweets and you won't get like any salty food in quarantine. The only times you get snacks are when they serve you breakfast, and some days they'll give you a breakfast sandwich. And with that, you'll get like some salty crackers, or I don't know what they are, like they're like a really lightweight sort of cracker. And then like maybe some little like potato chip things that don't taste like anything. If you have any sort of like preference for something like salty food or sweet food, like I have a huge sweet tooth and I have like a sugar addiction basically. I've been struggling a lot. And also with the food, this could just be my experience with it, but I am on the 22nd floor, so I'm at like near the top of Skypark Dongdaemun, and with the food, they go bottom up when they serve you the food, so by the time I get the food, it's lukewarm. Like, if it's meant to be a cold food, it's lukewarm. If it's meant to be a warm food, it's lukewarm. So I tend to honestly throw it out a lot, which is really unfortunate. Honestly, I'm at a point where like eating the food sort of makes me feel nauseous and I feel really ungrateful, but I just like, just please bring snacks that might fill you up, because the food gets really tiring and really sickening. Also, you have the choice in quarantine to like not receive certain meals or to receive certain meals. So for me, at first I didn't get breakfast because I don't usually eat breakfast, and then I just got lunch and dinner, and then I recently switched it to get breakfast, not lunch, and get dinner, because the lunch and dinner like choices are so similar. They're just like Korean like lunch boxes sort of. They're basically like the same type of food every single day. So eating food like within 5 hours of each other that's like the exact same meal was really tiring to me. But the breakfast food sometimes has like cereal and like a little like, tastes like a coconut donut. I think it's just a butter donut, but it tastes like coconut, and like just various like chips and stuff like that, or sandwich days or rice porridge days. So it really just depends on what your meal preferences are, or if you can eat that much. I can't eat that much. I just needed like more diversity because the food has been like a really difficult thing for me. And I think everyone I've talked to, that has been the most difficult thing. So definitely prepare for that. Another thing is you get a case of water bottles. So you'll probably only be drinking water bottles and whatever juice boxes come with your meals. You get a case of water bottles. I think there's maybe 24 in there. So if you tend to drink a lot of water, you can boil the tap water and then wait for it to cool, but I hear that the water tastes a little bit flat. At least at this location, you can ask for 2 bottles of water a day after you finish your case, but then any extra amount of water bottles you have to pay extra money for. Just that's something to look out for because you could end up finishing your water within the first week. Also, another thing is, everyone always says, oh, like Korea has the fastest Wi-Fi in the world or whatever. That's just so does not feel true, because every single person in the group chat when we got here was complaining about the Wi-Fi, because all of the EPIK applicants are here. So they got hundreds of calls from us about the Wi-Fi situation. So I don't know what it's like. It seems to be, there's 2 EPIK quarantine locations this year. There's Myeongdong, Skypark in Myeongdong? And then there's the Skypark in Dongdaemun, I believe. I think they're like the same hotel, but in different like neighborhoods, I think. But I'm in Dongdaemun, so that's all I know. But the Wi-Fi in both hotels is not quite good because there's so many people using it, and a lot of times it's just like an open an open network. So it's really slow and choppy, and it's only faster at night when no one's using it. So a lot of people ended up ordering an Ethernet cable here. You can bring one, which I'd highly recommend bringing one that you already know how to use, because some people had issues with their Ethernet cables getting it to work. It is considered a necessity. So you're allowed to have necessary deliveries, such as Ethernet cables or your SIM cards, but you cannot get like clothes sent here, or you cannot order for delivery food or anything like that. Prepare for the Wi-Fi ahead of time, I'd say, but if you are here and you're having Wi-Fi issues, you could always just order an Ethernet cable. What I do is I use my SIM card for my LTE, and I connect it to my computer. I would suggest, if you're really in a jam, just using your LTE. It's worked for me so far, but if you could bring an Ethernet cable, definitely do that, because you have no idea how the Wi-Fi is going to be like. So half of my day is spent just in my bed watching YouTube and trying to not gross myself out at the thought of having to eat these like Korean lunch boxes any longer. And half the rest of the time is spent figuring out how to deal with my trash once I'm done eating. So you have to separate trash. A lot of times in Korea, you can't just take the trash out whenever you want, especially in quarantine. Here, they pick it up between 1 and 2 p.m. every day. So you separate it out by recyclables, and then regular general waste, and then also food waste. So I usually have just a ton of food waste, like, because like I said, I don't finish my meals. But you do have a mini fridge. If you're in a hotel, you will have a mini fridge. I think you should have a mini fridge anyway. Even if you had university housing, I think you would have a mini fridge. So if it's your dinner meal and you can't take out the trash until the next day at 1 p.m., you're just gonna put your food waste in your mini fridge, which is like a thing that people do in Korea. I wish it was a freezer, because a freezer keeps the smell in a lot easier, but you just have to make do. So that's something that kind of sucks while you're here. I just wish I knew about the food and how fast it would go, or how sick of it I would get. There's nothing particularly wrong with the food except for that it's cold. And I did end up getting food poisoning because I ate a gray, lukewarm, boiled egg, which then ruined my intestines. I think another thing that was probably harming my system anyway before I ate that boiled egg was the fact that when you are in a foreign country for the first time, most people get the microbes, and just like traveling in general can really mess with like your gut health. So I would highly recommend, if you have stomach issues, bring medication, especially if you have digestive issues while traveling. You need to bring medication for this part, because I had a fever and was really stomach sick for 2 days, and the only thing that the hotel keeps is Tylenol. I have heard people say that the hotel can go and get you specific medication if you really truly need it, or if there's an emergency, they will take you to the emergency room, and that has happened. But you definitely should just bring, if you know there's certain medication that works for you, you definitely should just bring those medications here, because you'll really regret it if you ever end up eating a hard-boiled egg that was not right for your stomach at all. Other than that, it's mostly just about managing boredom, which honestly I haven't had a problem with. I'm not someone who gets bored very easily. I'm very entertained by being by myself. One thing that I miss is getting dressed and putting on makeup, which is like my excuse to film videos or film little reels on Instagram or something like that. Because that is actually my hobby, like doing makeup and fashion. Those are like my hobbies. So it's been a bummer not being able to do that. Actually, you know what's weird is I actually have heard of people in my EPIK intake chat have been talking about how they keep getting calls from the front desk saying, oh, your chicken is here, or whatever, your takeout food is here. And that's like not allowed. Like, you're not allowed to order takeout food. So EPIK applicants are all here. There's like hundreds of us. But there are also regular people quarantining here as well. And there's also, I'm pretty sure half the hotel is still up for regular stays. So I'm not sure if someone in quarantine is ordering those, but you're not allowed to do that technically, which is such a bummer. The only thing I want in the world right now is to eat some Korean fried chicken takeout. Oh my god, I can't believe I'm still weeks away from doing that because I still have to go to orientation for a week before I could move in and just order some takeout. Anyways, so that's been a really weird occurrence. You can open your windows also. A lot of people didn't know if you can open your windows. You can open your windows, but if you're really high up in the air in Seoul, it smells really bad. It just smells really bad because like the air quality here is not very good in the first place. So every single time I've opened my window to get fresh air, I just immediately started coughing a lot. And last time I was living in Seoul, that just didn't happen to me. And I don't know if it's because that smog rises up above like where you would normally be at ground level. So that's just something to be wary of. So open your windows with caution if you plan to be here. But other than that, quarantine, like, it's kind of a bummer, but if you just have a few good shows to binge watch and you bring plenty of snacks and bring an Ethernet cable or have a plan for your Wi-Fi, then you should be totally fine. I wouldn't stress about it too much. I would really emphasize the food and water situation though. Like, do be prepared for that. And I would expect for your stomach to get messed up, especially eating at such close intervals every day if you're not used to that, and in such big proportions if you're not used to that. So that's been my struggles with quarantine so far, but honestly, I'm just excited to be here. I have a nice view of Dongdaemun, if you want to see. Here's my view. I don't know if you can see all this stuff. Yeah, it just makes me very envious of all the people outside. So I do hope that next intake that it's not going to be a thing to quarantine, though I would be pretty jealous if that was the case. But we'll see how the vaccine rollout is in Korea. I'm already fully vaccinated. A lot of foreigners are fully vaccinated, but the rollout here hasn't been as successful. I'm not exactly sure what's going on, but I just know that the vaccination rate is not as high as it is like in the US, for example. Probably just don't have as many dosages available for people. But those are what I've noticed in quarantine have been the biggest issues for me. Wherever you are, I think that those will be prominent issues no matter what. The food situation is something everyone would have to deal with. I don't think anyone would be allowed to get deliveries made anyway. So just look out for these things, and I will make more videos about my experience in Korea so far. I'm really excited to make videos in Gwangyang. I'm just getting into researching it. I had no expectations at all, so I'm actually pleasantly surprised that I'm in a place that has a more of a city type of feel, a suburban city type of feel, I guess it's more. And I'm really excited to visit Yeosu in particular, so I'm glad that's right next door to me. So I'll make a video maybe soon. Maybe I only have 3 days left of quarantine, but maybe I'll make a video soon about my EPIK interview process and everything from that step onward, because that was the most important, I think, part for me to get advice on when I was applying. And then probably I won't do anything for orientation. But okay, but I'll be out of quarantine in 3 days, so I'll be able to make more videos once I'm all settled in. So I'm excited to do that. I hope if you're coming for spring intake and this is still the situation, this was helpful. Or if you were just curious about what exactly it's like, maybe this is helpful for you, or you're just want to laugh at my misery. That's fair too. Anyways, so I'll see you in the next video. Bye!